I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and today we are going to talk about a difficult case. So, Carlee Russell, this is a case that has been in the headlines for probably the last week or so, from her initial disappearance until what the police are now suspecting. Let's just say they're having difficulty making her story match the evidence. And there have been some problematic, concerning. There have been some difficult things that have been released. And I'm a licensed psychologist, and here I just share educational information on a variety of topics, specifically covering some topics relating to crime in the justice system from a psychological perspective. And I really thought that I could add just some general information and just because a lot of people are thinking, how did this happen? Why would a person do something like this? She must be going through a lot right now. Like, a lot of people are really just concerned, and then there've been a lot of jokes I've seen a lot of things on social media, and really my goal is to just talk about this from a neutral perspective. And that's what I always try to do here from a non-judgmental perspective. I wanna show a few clips from the press conference. Full links will be over in the description, and then also share because cases like this, when things come out where it seems like the disappearance was a hoax, it can really cause problems for when other people are truly missing in the future. And so there was an article that covered that, and I want to go into that too. So let's hop right in.
At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to
And I wonder if they were aware that people were going to follow this case from the time she was missing. So, what happened that day and previous days, what happened around that time. They wanna know what happened during the time that she was reported missing, and then also what happened when she came back, so that the police were going to look into the fact that she walked back to the home by herself, and they were going to look into the other things that are gonna be covered here in this news conference. So let's keep going.
obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get.
Okay. I am guessing that she's likely not going to talk to detectives again without an attorney because making false statements to the police, that is a crime. And you have a right to remain silent. But once you do make a statement, it is illegal to make false statements or to make statements that would then make people go down to misdirect the investigation or any of those things. And let's let's keep going.
Get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. She told detectives she ran through lots of woods until she came out near her residence. During this interview, detectives noted that Carlee had a small injury to her lip, and she claimed that her head was hurting. She also had a tear on her shirt. Detectives also noted that she had $107 cash in her right
I hadn't heard
sock.
that part.
Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest. Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis. Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance.
This was the part that really was like, "Oh my gosh, I really wanna make sure to cover this," because starting with, I think, the Murdaugh trial, I did not realize how much data is stored on a phone, and once subpoenaed or once people are able to get access to it, how much information can truly be found on a phone. And let's keep listening.
That I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught?" was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term Birmingham bus station was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were two searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding.
And the fact that they even went to the place of employment to then search more, this is what makes me think that there might be some charges coming, but we will see what happens moving forward. But
The maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time. We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
and so I did also watch a video that showed the time that she got over and was driving in the median with her hazard lights on. They said the length of about 6 football fields when she was on the phone with 911, saying that she was following a young child that looked unattended or that, she was following this child. And I don't know how long they were suspecting or questioning her story. So a lot of people want to know why. Why would someone do this? What would be the motivation? And just from my perspective, so I don't know. I don't know what hers are. In general, a few different things come to my mind. The biggest one is somebody trying to become internet famous very quickly. My thing would be you wouldn't want to put your family through that because I think her family legit thought that she was missing, and the emotional turmoil, all that they went through looking for her and all of that, that had to be very difficult for them. And just when a person gets caught, because it looks like she's been caught in what seems to be a pretty huge lie. And there are a few different types of lying that I've talked about on my channel before. Compulsive lying, so that's a person that just lies compulsively. They will just lie about anything. And then there is pathological lying. And that's where a person is lying with an intent. So that's where they're lying to get out of trouble. They're lying, there's a reason why. Versus compulsive, that's a person that will lie to you about the color of their shirt. something you can clearly see, something you can clearly check, and that's just somebody that just very impulsively or compulsively lies. And there are some diagnoses where compulsive lying can be a feature. It's not like a DSM, it's not like a category of any particular diagnosis, but sometimes there are. So sometimes with ADHD or with certain diagnoses, sometimes there can be an impulsivity or where the person isn't thinking before they speak or where they might be more likely to lie in certain situations, which in no way excuses anything, but it just kind of helps me understand as a psychologist someone's state of mind and their thinking. But if somebody is doing it more with a reason where they're trying to get their name and they're like wanting to maybe go on talk shows or afterwards have this story where they've been rescued or where look at how things have come out for them. Y'all know sometimes I'm lost for words, and this is one of those where I can't put because as a Black woman that because there are so many missing Black women where their story does not make the news, where they don't end up getting the type of media coverage that her case ended up getting because this made national news. And there are some people where their cases did not get that type of attention, and sadly, it had tragic ends, and some people that have never been recovered and or found or identified. And for this to possibly what seems to be lots of holes, lots of things that are not making sense, often we just wanna understand why, and we may true so she is the only one that's truly gonna know exactly what was going on, what the goal was, what and because you hear stories about people going on social media and lying about having cancer or lying about different things. And I've seen certain people's social media profiles or their YouTube channels in particular, where they used to just do travel content and now all their travel content has, I was almost robbed or like it has all of these like really dramatic things that have happened because sadly that's what people pay attention to. That's what people watch. So if you check out my channel, so this is not, I don't only cover court cases, I cover a variety of different topics, all related to mental health. And the court stuff, the more odd. So one of my most popular ones is not a video that I even really like that much because it's Dr. Lewis and it's just like I'm wanting to like pull my hair out. It was very difficult to record. It's a very difficult video to watch, but that's the one that people end up just attached to and watching. And even in that video, and I think I have a pinned comment on that one where it's like, please look at the other forensic psychologists that did a phenomenal job testifying and that provided accurate, amazing information. And I think that video might have maybe a tenth of the views that the one that with Dr. Lewis has, because that's the one that everybody's in the comments talking about. And so I think as a society, we have to get away from just but those are the things that get people's attention. Those are the things that drive engagement, but I wish some of the positive did. And so if we could, engage with, positive content, engage with things that aren't, and there's nothing wrong with looking into criminal cases. So I love LawTube. I love watching those types of things. Sometimes you need a break. And some of my favorite creators, they'll take a break to cover lighter topics because it can be difficult for the creator as well, only covering these very heavy topics. And so I did mention that I wanted to share an article. I will make sure to put the link over in the description, but it talks about how similar cases to this one, some of the effects that it can have, and the similarities that this case had with a few other well known hoaxes. And so while Carlee is home safe, the public is still confused about what happened to her. She vanished after supposedly spotting a random baby on the side of the road, which we now do not believe was true. There's no evidence that that was true at all. And so they mentioned Chloe Stein only 2 months ago. Wow, I forgot that one. The 23-year-old. Yes, because I think is that the one that was college? I thought so. So, just 2 months ago, 23-year-old Chloe Stein was arrested for four misdemeanors for allegedly faking her own abduction. She vanished after texting her boyfriend that she had been pulled over by a police officer. But what was really happening was that she her parents thought she was in college, and I think graduation was coming up. I could be getting cases confused, but I think this is this one. And she was not, she hadn't been in college, and she was not going to be graduating. And so that was that one. And then I did just want to share this other article that went into what I had mentioned earlier, that a lot of advocates really hope that this particular case, that it doesn't make people not pay attention to, because sometimes when a black woman is missing, sometimes it can be difficult for that to get media attention versus if it's a European American woman. And so being able to just truly continue to make sure that people know that Black voices matter. And in this article, they share some statistics that there are more than 30,000 Black people in the United States that remained missing at the end of 2020. About half, oh, sorry, yeah, about half of those cases were missing Black women and girls. And just how a lot of criticism and a lot of people have said lot of hateful, a lot of things about this case. And like I said, I don't know what was going on in her mind. I don't know what she's going through, or any of those things. I can imagine this is a very difficult time for her family, and I'm sure they're very protective and wanting to make sure that she gets the help and support that she needs during this time, and then also watching out for any potential legal repercussions as well, because we'll have to watch that one to see. But if y'all have questions, please let me know. Like I said, this one, it just blew my mind because I saw the pictures, heard about the story, and I'm careful about sharing those types of stories and articles anyway, because sometimes, like even on, especially on Facebook, sometimes a person, they might have been found, but people are still sharing the missing picture or poster, and the person is like no longer missing. But like the individual said at the end of that press conference, only she knows what happened, only she knows why she did it, and she might be careful about what she says at this point, because there truly could be legal and financial consequences for her actions and what she did. I believe she's in nursing school right now, and so I don't know if any of those, because things like this can have an impact on your life. Like, you made national news, and now everyone's like, "What happened?" And if you have questions, let me know. If you have other cases, other topics that you'd like for me to cover, especially things that are not related to court, please let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.